Hey Stampers, welcome to Brandy's Cards. I am so excited to craft with you today. I have a double embossed card. Yeah, double embossed. So you're probably wondering, okay, what does that mean? Well, we're going to emboss it with clear embossing powder, and then we're going to emboss it with an embossing folder. Yeah, the double embossed. It is going to be so cool, and you are going to love this background. I promise you, you will. It is so much fun. So I have the bouquet of love, the embossing folder, and I also have the dies. And so this is one of the fun cards that I'm going to show you how I made. And I have a couple others as well. These embossing folders, when you double emboss it like that, it is an amazing, amazing background. So if you like my video today and you're inspired to give this a try, be sure to like and subscribe. That's right, click the like button and be sure to subscribe so that you are notified. And you can also click the bell. That also will ensure that you get that notification when I publish my next video. So I'm really excited to get started and to show you exactly how I created these cards. Now, you haven't seen the other two, so I hope that you stick with me because I think the last one might actually be my favorite. Okay, so what we're going to start with today is the bouquet of love. So these are the dies, and this is the embossing folder. It is so pretty. Oh my goodness. And this die, it's so cool because this die actually, let's see if I can do it this way. It actually can die cut that out, see? So there's lots of different fun things that you can do with that, but I can show you that along the way. So what are you going to need for today's project? Well, you're going to need some embossing powder. That's right, you're going to need some clear embossing powder. You're also going to need an embossing folder of your choice. Yeah, look at that. Gosh, isn't that stunning? Okay, I'm excited. Let me show you exactly how I created this fun card. So what are you going to need today? So I've got basic black here. I've got a piece of scrap that's for my die cutting. This is polished pink. It is such a beautiful color. Now what I find is that when you emboss with clear embossing powder, it actually turns into a darker color. So I'll show you exactly what I mean by that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you a couple of things. First off, we're going to grab our cut and emboss machine, and I'm going to pull this guy in here, the cut and emboss, and I am going to do some die cutting really quick. All right, so I'm going to use the dies from the bouquet of love, and I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to eventually use that one, so I'm going to keep it over here with me. So here's the deal, and you'll understand as we get going. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to die cut this heart first. That's right. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of place it exactly where I want it. Now I can hear some of you going, holy cow, she has got the cleanest embossing plates, you know, acrylic plates. You know what, today I actually decided to switch them out and get a new set. So it is not because mine aren't, you know, cut on. It's because I decided today I needed to change them out and get a new set. So that's why. Otherwise, they definitely are worn and used for sure. So while I have this out, oh wow, look at that. Do you see the pretty stitched edge? Oh, it's gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for just a moment, and then I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap. On this scrap, I'm going to put another heart, the big heart, and then I'm going to take the small heart that's also in that die set. And I'm just going to kind of strategically place it in here. Of course, if it's moving around or your plates are warped at all, you might just use some washi tape, right? So you can use some washi tape and tape that down. But I felt like because my dies were pretty good, or my acrylic plates, I didn't really need to do that. So here, I've got to make room here. I set some stuff down where my cut and emboss goes. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So now what we're going to do is open this up, and this is so cool. This set is so much fun. It's so cool. So do you see? Oh, look at that pretty heart. So that was just because I put those two in together like that. And then I've also got another pretty heart here. So lots of fun stuff that I can work with, but I'm going to just set those aside for a second. And then we're going to start embossing. That's right. So I have a piece of scrap paper here, and I also have some Versamark. So I love my Versamark. It is awesome. And if you've never used Versamark, or if you've never embossed before, you definitely need to do it. It just makes an awesome tone-on-tone, not to mention it's really sticky, so it's like a pigment ink. So if you're not sure about the different inks and how to use them, I actually just did a video not too long ago, and you can find it in brandyscards.com/beginners. And if you scroll down to all about inks, then you'll be able to see the different inks that we have. And of course, I'll share with you a little bit more about Versamark and how that works. Okay, so I have some clear embossing powder here, and I have my Versamark pad. Sticky, very sticky. That's one of the nice things about the Versamark, is it's going to stay sticky for a little bit longer. Takes a little while to dry. And so for that reason, your embossing powder is going to stick beautifully. So I am sort of doing a little twist on this, just because I want to make sure that I get this embossing powder on all my fibers really, really good, on my paper fibers here. So I want a really good coverage on this polished pink. Yeah. So there we go. I think that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and close that up. And now you can see that I have kind of a sticky coating on it. It looks kind of shiny, right? So here's my clear embossing powder. And I'm going to just sprinkle that all over my cardstock. Yeah. So cool. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you this. So cool, and it's so much fun to do. Yeah, it's so cool. Okay, so just get all of our embossing powder on there. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my embossing powder and tap it back into my container here. We don't want to waste any of that. We love our embossing powders. So much fun. So much fun. All right, so here's a silicone mat, and I'm going to use that to protect my surface. But I actually have a stone surface, but if you don't, you definitely want to protect your surface with some type of silicone mat or something along those lines. All right, so I'm going to set this down, and I am going to turn on my heat tool. And here is like the first part of the magic. So right now what I'm doing is I am kind of starting at the corner, and I'm going to watch my embossing powder start to melt. And what you're going to find is that polished pink cardstock will turn a deeper pink in color. It's also going to feel kind of plasticky as that embossing powder melts. It's going to kind of have this really cool plastic feel, if you will, or that type of really, really neat embossed. So, and I'm just kind of following that embossing powder. I think that's one of my favorite things to do, is just watch that embossing powder kind of melt and go. And you can see you don't want to stay in the same spot too long, so just kind of keep moving your way through, and you'll be able to see if it's not melted. I promise you that. And so that is it for the embossing portion of this, the first part of the embossing. Yeah, check that out. So there we go. Oh, look at how shiny that is. So it's a little warm from the heat tool, but it's not too bad. And oh, it's so cool. Look how shiny. All right, so I promised you today's card was going to be a double embossed. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a trick. So when I first did this card, I did not cut the heart out, and I embossed it. And then when I was done, I went through and I die cut the heart and, die cut it out. Well, because I embossed it first and then I die cut it, when I put it through the second time, it smushed the embossing folder embossing. So in this scenario, I would recommend die cutting whatever image you're die cutting, then emboss the cardstock, and then we're going to emboss it again. So you're going to want to put it inside of your embossing folder, and I'm just kind of like, looking at this heart and sort of eyeing it and thinking, okay, where exactly do I want it to fit? And that looks really good to me, okay? So I'm gonna close that. We're gonna bring back in our cut and emboss machine, and we are going to go ahead and emboss. Now this embossing folder is a little bit thicker, so I need my base plate, I need my embossing folder, and I also need my plate number 4. That's right, so that is kind of my specialty plate for embossing with these thicker embossing folders. All right, oh gosh, there we go. So let's pull that out and let me show you the magic that happens. All right, so here we go. Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? So that is double embossed. So it was embossed once with embossing powder, and then I ran it through and I embossed it a second time. And it kind of makes it antique-y looking, and it kind of brings out some white, kind of looks waxy or antique-y looking. It is so cool. So very cool. So here, let's go ahead and put this card together, and I'll show you exactly how I did it, and we'll get it put together. And maybe you might like to make one of these cards. It is super easy. And I think the coolest part about it is just the fact that you can make so many different fun backgrounds, right? So here we go. We're going to just take some liquid adhesive, and I am going to put that here. So this is the inside of my card. Just going to add, kind of add that to the inside. And then I also have another piece, and it's pretty much the same size. And this piece is going to layer on the top of my card. So that's going to layer perfectly right here on the top of my card. And then this piece, oh wow, see, that's the polished pink on one side, and that's the embossed side. Really, really different. Really different. So much fun. So fun. All right, so now I'm going to add this piece, my embossed layer, to the front of my card. I'm just centering it here inside the white cardstock. And I'm going to show you the last card I did, or the first one I should say. I actually popped this piece up with Stampin' Dimensionals. So I decided that I was going to flatten it this time and see if I didn't like that better, or see which one I liked better, because I like to do stuff like that. Okay, so now what I have, this is the piece that we cut, we die cut earlier, and here is one of the small hearts. So here's what it looks like in white. And what I did is I am double embossed this white, basic white piece, and then I die cut a heart. So my heart was textured in the same texture, and I die cut that out, and there's what I got. So I got this really pretty die cut textured heart that looks pretty much identical except it's white. So I'm going to set that aside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just start layering this up and putting it together. So what I thought was, how pretty would this be popped up, and then maybe we have our die cut piece in the center. And what I really liked about it is that you could see that stitched edge right in the center there. So I loved that. So I'm going to take and put some Stampin' Dimensionals here behind my heart. Yep. And so this is the heart that we created with the 2 dies. Yep. So let's just get these little Stampin' Dimensionals off of here. And we got to get these backings off. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and I think I'm just going to cut myself kind of, longer ones, if you will. And I probably only need 1. Yep, I think that's going to work. So there we go. So I'm going to take this up, and I popped up my heart, and I'm going to center it right here inside of my stitching. Yeah, so cool. And you see kind of the white that kind of goes around there. That's from the die. After we embossed it that first time, that die kind of did that the second time. So really, really cool. Now I'm going to take this piece, and I'm going to put some liquid adhesive behind it. And then I'm going to push it into the little hole here. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of, wiggle it into place. Because it's liquid adhesive, I can totally wiggle it into place. Okay, so now I have my banner. And so this sentiment actually came from this stamp set. Let me see, where is it? Oh, there it is, right there. So it came from the Celebrate You stamp set, or Celebrating You stamp set. And I believe right now you can buy these two as a bundle. So really, really cool. Really, really cool. So many fun sentiments. I actually had a hard time deciding which sentiment to use. So there's that. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on each side. And then I'm going to set it right about, oh, I got one of my little pieces in there. Okay, so we're going to set it right about in here, I think. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now, if you wanted to add a gem or a jewel, you could certainly do that. I thought today that I just loved how beautiful that background was, that I decided to just go with maybe a really subtle jewel rhinestone. So that is my first card. Oh my goodness, I hope that you like it as much as I do. It's so fun to create. So please, if you like it, be sure to click the like button. I would be grateful. And, it helps me grow my channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Now, if you've stuck with me, I have another one that I want to show you. So fun. All right, so this next one uses the Nature's Beauty stamp set along with the Campology. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And before I show you the actual card, I'm going to show you in the spring catalog. This is our January through June mini catalog. I call it the spring catalog. And so in this catalog on page 47, there is this fabulous bundle. Now, I don't have this bundle, or I couldn't find it today, to be honest with you. So I was a little like, so I thought, because at first I did these two, and then I thought, gosh, that would be great for that bundle too. So I was going to do it in both, but I couldn't find it. So if you have this bundle, today's card is going to work perfect with that as well. So yeah, so definitely take a look at that. Now, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you need a set of catalogs, please reach out to me and let me know. Just go to brandyscards.com/contact and you can fill out my contact form and request some catalogs. Let me know if you have any questions. Of course, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have in hopes of earning your business. And if you're one of my current customers, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. And I hope that you're loving all of your new crafting supplies. It is so fun when the UPS man shows up. I know, I look so forward to him when he's like passing by. It's like, wait, is there a Stampin' Up! Box in there? So much fun. Okay, so Nature's Beauty and Campology. That's what we're going to use today. And let me see, what kind of ink are you going to need? Oh, I can't wait to show you this card. So you're going to need Early Espresso, and you're going to need Mossy Meadow. These are the two. That's it. These are the two. And oh, you are going to need a super cool embossing folder. Yeah. So this one is called Stripes and Splatters. And I absolutely love it so much that it is one of my host code gifts this month. That's right. So if you purchase $50 before shipping or tax and you use my host code, then you could pick this gift or one of my others. So I'm super excited about that. Now check this out. This is soft suede. That's soft suede cardstock. This is soft suede cardstock that's had Versamark put on it. And then I've heat embossed it with clear embossing powder, just like we did that first card. Now, here is the cool part. Let me bring back in the cut and emboss machine. And let's go ahead and emboss this. Oh, wait till you see how beautiful this is. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you put your cardstock that's been embossed, the part that has been with the clear embossing powder, you want it so that you can see your Stampin' Up! Label. So that's going to give you the look that you're looking for. Okay, so I'm just putting that in my embossing folder. There we go. And I'm going to run this through. And I can't wait to show you what it looks like. It is so cool. So very cool. All right, so let's set this aside. And we'll set these plates and all these different things. So now remember, this was soft suede cardstock, and now it's been embossed. Oh, wow, look how amazing that is. And you can kind of see that soft suede sort of come out in that, in those, you know, in those, gosh, I don't know, they're called splatters and stripes. So I guess it's stripes. So much fun. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I have the trees and I have the deer, and I've got a piece of scrap paper here, and we're gonna put this card together. I am super excited to show you this one. So we've got white cardstock, that's right, and I've just scored it at 4 1/4. Now I'm gonna take up my Mossy Meadow, and we are going to ink up in Mossy Meadow on our trees. That's right, we're gonna ink up the trees, and I'm gonna stamp these trees. I might actually just open up my card, and I want my trees over here in this section. So, and I'm actually bringing my stamp down a little bit so that it comes off of the cardstock onto my scrap paper, okay? Now we're gonna add some liquid adhesive. Look at that, that is soft suede, and that is after it's been embossed twice, double embossed. So fun. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. And so I'm gonna add some liquid adhesive right behind here. And now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna add this right to the front of my card. That's right. So how neat is that? Oh my gosh. So doesn't that look masculine? That looks so masculine and outdoorsy. Kind of reminds me of like log cabin. Oh my gosh, so cool. So now what we're gonna do is I have a piece of basic white, a piece of crumb cake. So I've got early espresso, and I'm gonna stamp this fabulous deer. Now, like I said, if you have Grassy Grove, that stamp set, you could absolutely use that stamp set. So I'm gonna take and stamp my deer right here in the center. Oh, so pretty. Wow, that is such a beautiful image. And so then what I did is I picked a sentiment out of Campology, and I believe I did "You Brighten My Path." And I stamped that in early espresso as well. And I'm gonna just add that right along the bottom here. So let's just add, looks like I stamped it twice. That's right, there's 2 sides to every paper. So if I get one crooked, I just flip it over. That's right. Shh, don't tell nobody. No, you should know that it's okay if you make a mistake. Just flip your paper over, right? Okay, so there we go. Let's flip that over. We're gonna add some Stampin' Dimensionals. I love some Stampin' Dimensionals. And so we're gonna add these right here behind our deer. And then we're gonna center it inside the crumb cake cardstock. Now, if you are enjoying my cards and you're wondering, okay, where are the sizes and the dimensions? Because I am so excited to get started. Make sure you go over to brandyscards.com, and you're gonna find the sizes and the dimensions on brandyscards.com. It will be listed there for you, okay? And if you can't find it, you can certainly search Campology, Nature's Beauty, of course, the Bouquet of Love as well. So check that out. So he's gonna go right on top. Oh my goodness, it's so cool. So I'm gonna add some more dimensionals, I think, behind him so that he, you know, gets stuck really good on there. I am gonna put it across the middle this time, just because I have a couple different layers and my embossed piece is textured now. So I just wanna make sure that it's gonna stay nice and firm. So here we go. We're gonna layer this right in the center of the card. Oh my gosh, I hope that you like it. So much fun. And like I said, that Grassy Grove stamp set would also be absolutely stunning on this card. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now you could stamp on the inside some trees, and you could, you know, there's other animals and things in that stamp set, so you could definitely dress this up even more if you wanted to. Okay, so if you're still with me, guess what? I have another card that is utterly awesome. That's right, utterly awesome. So if you guys have been enjoying Celebration, this is one of the cute stamp sets that you can get for your qualifying order. of $50 before shipping or tax. So we have a celebration is going on through the end of February. And so February 28th, 2022. And so if you place a qualifying order of $50 before shipping and tax, you get to pick one of these really cool items. And then of course we also have some level 2 items as well. So just some really cool stuff, and we all love celebration. I know that I enjoy getting to pick out some extra items. So make sure that if you haven't placed your order already that you do so. And of course, don't forget to use the host code so that you can pick your gift. And you might like the stars, stripes and splatters. So fun. So we're going to use splatters and we're going to use otters next. All right, so this card, I am excited to show you. This one, I'm just going to kind of tidy up here for a second. So this one, I kind of had a different idea for this one. I decided that I wanted to do Bermuda Bay, but I actually, it's really interesting because I wanted to do pool party. That's right. But when I did the pool party and I embossed it just like we had kind of talked about before, I felt like it was a little bit flat. So I thought to myself, well, how can I add some definition to this? Because then I thought, well, what if I just go get some Bermuda Bay cardstock and I do the same process with that? But then that was too dark. So what I did, next best option, is I grabbed my blending brush and my Bermuda Bay cardstock. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I know how to get some darker spots, right? We just start blending them in. So that is what I'm going to do here. And I'm just doing this very random because I want some lights and darks in here. And so again, this is just so that when I emboss it, I've got some different lights and darks. Yeah. So I don't want to get too sporty because I'll end up, kind of covering too much of it. So you kind of get the gist right there. So here we're going to do the same thing that we've done before. Let's go ahead and take our Versamark and we're going to just put some ink on that, some Versamark ink, and I'm just going to kind of move my way around and make sure I get that inked up really, really good. Oh my gosh, this is so fun to do. I have to tell you, this is so fun to do. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so here is my clear embossing powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle this over the top, just like that. Yeah. Okay, so then I'm going to pick that up and just kind of tap it off. And if you've missed some spots, you might just kind of go back and put a little powder back on there, right? And then I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to dump this back in because I certainly don't want to make a mess. Then I'm going to put the lid on because if I don't, I'll stick my finger in it and spill it. And then I'm going to bring back in my piece of paper, and I also have my silicone craft mat to protect my space. And we're going to set that on there, and I'm going to get my heat tool. Okay, I am ready. So here we go. This is so fun to watch it. So now what I've done is I have used my blending brush to add some darker spots. And then I've done the same process as the others. I've added the Versamark and then the clear embossing powder. That's right. And then that clear embossing powder is giving it that kind of waxy look. That's so cool. And then we're going to run it through our cut and emboss machine using that cool folder, the splatters. Yeah. And so do you see how I'm starting to get some of like darker shades? Which I thought was like really cool. Super cool. Gosh, and I'd love to try this with the honeycomb. I have not done it with the honeycomb embossing folder yet, but if you have that folder, I hope that you give it a try. That will be stunning on that textured folder. So cool. All right, so now we're going to run it through the cut and emboss machine. We'll set that aside and pull in our cut and emboss. We're not cutting anything, we're just embossing. And I have my splatters right here. So this is kind of the splatters. I was looking at them thinking they kind of look like, ink splatters or, but it also kind of reminded me of water. So that's why I went that route. And you're going to want the Stampin' Up! Logo facing up and the pretty, embossed part facing up as well. So right under that Stampin' Up! Logo. And so here, I'm not getting centered in there. Hang tight. Let me get centered in there. Actually, you know what? Gosh, yeah, I'm going to do it that way. I was trying to decide which side I liked better because I am going to tear off one side. Okay, so here we go. We're going through the cut and emboss. And then when we get on the other side, I'm excited to show you exactly what this looks like. So here we go. Check out this. Here it is. Wow, isn't that cool? So it just sort of took it to the next level when you sponged that background. And then what I'm going to do, I know you're like, oh, don't tear it. No, I'm gonna, because I liked how you could see, the cardstock. That pool party cardstock is actually the color that we used. So I thought that was super fun that you could see that. So that's why I tore that. Now you could definitely sponge that too if you wanted to. So here I have a piece of basic white cardstock. I've already scored that. And this is another basic white piece of cardstock. And what we're going to do with this one is I'm going to tear this too. Because I felt like I wanted I wanted it to kind of look like waves, if you will. So I'm going to kind of get in here. It looks like I maybe just made it too big of a piece, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So just kind of coming down the cardstock. Yeah, it's a little bit easier if it's maybe not as big, so maybe you cut yourself a smaller strip. So you could do as many of these as you wanted to, right? As many layers as you wanted to. So I like to kind of go back in and figure out, okay, which side do I like the best? Did I get the best tear? And then I like to kind of push on them and get them all ruffled up and fussed up. And then we're going to take our liquid adhesive and I'm going to add that right here so that I can add this piece. So again, it's kind of like I want to create something that sort of looks like waves, possibly the ocean maybe, right? So that's kind of where I'm going with this. And then I'm going to add my pool party cardstock that looks, very tropical for sure. And I want to be able to see my ruffled edge, right? And then I'm going to add that right there to the front of my card. Yep, so I think we're good. And then we're going to add that to the front of the card, just like this. Oh, I just love it. I hope that you do too. And sometimes, if you, sometimes when you tear the cardstock, sometimes you might not tear it even or so forth. So just trim it at the bottom if that happens, okay? All right, so I'm just about done here. I'm going to show you really quickly how I finished this card off. I have an otter that I colored, and so he is colored in these colors. Now, I'm not going to do that for you today, but I used soft suede on the outer part of him, the light and dark, and I used crumb cake in the center. I actually used a poppy parade here for his fish and a flirty flamingo. Yeah, so two different colors, big time. And then I also put it on his nose. And then for his water, I used a light Bermuda Bay, and then I colored it around it with a light pool party. So I will make sure and share all of that with you on brandyscards.com. So you make sure that you go over there, and you visit my website, and I'll be sure to have all of that information for you. Now, if you are new to stamping, or maybe you need a refresher, be sure to go to brandyscards.com/beginners and register for my beginner series. I am so excited about my beginner series. We all start somewhere, and I feel like it can be overwhelming. And sometimes you just kind of need a little bit like, okay, that puts some of those pieces together for me. So I hope that, that you subscribe so that you receive my emails for my beginner series. And I hope that it inspires you to start crafting. I've been teaching stamping and paper crafting for over 15 years now, and I absolutely love it so much. It's brought me so much joy, and so I want to give that back to you. So I hope that you will give it a try for sure. So here we go. So there is my cute little otter. And this is a piece of Calypso Coral. This is Flirty Flamingo, and I stamped that with, Poppy Parade is what I stamped on that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, I don't know, just snip that a little bit. The idea is I just want it to be a little bit different. Sometimes if you have like maybe ribbon or something, you could certainly do ribbon, but I think that I just, I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. And then I'm going to make my own little banner edge. That's right. So if you have a triangle punch or something along those lines, you could certainly accomplish the same thing, probably a bit more even than I did it, but I don't really mind doing that. So there we go. So I just want to try to get that straight, and you are utterly awesome. How cool is that? So cool. So cute, and I love that his fish matches him. That is what I think is so fun. So let's add some Stampin' Dimensionals behind this. Actually, you know what? I already have one done. So I will set him aside. But do you see how beautiful that is? So yeah, so I would add some Stampin' Dimensionals behind and stick it straight to the top of the card. So here, let's look at these cards again. And I'd love to know which one you like. Please leave me a comment and let me know if you like these cards today. And don't forget to like and subscribe as well. I would greatly appreciate that. Of course, hit the notification bell so that you're notified of any of my upcoming videos. So before I go, I'm going to show you one other. This is with the Scripty embossing folder. I think that's what it was. And look at that. Oh, so cool. And I believe that was Night of Navy cardstock. And then I embossed it, clear embossed it, and then I embossed it with that embossing folder. So much fun. Yes. So can you see how that would be addicting when you've got so many beautiful embossing folders, and how amazing your backgrounds could be? I mean, awesome, awesome. So I hope that you give this a try. And of course, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, please let me know. I'd love the opportunity to help you and earn your business. You can go to brandyscards.com and you can request a catalog there. And of course, register for my beginner series as well. And just so you know, at the end of the beginner series, we're going to do an AMA, an Ask Me Anything. So we're excited about that. And those that subscribe will get a private invitation to that party. So very excited about that. Definitely leave me a comment and let me know how you like these cards. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure I hope I've inspired you to get into the craft room and get crafting, get stamping, and most importantly, send those beautiful cards. That's right. Make sure after you create them, send your cards, because they are such a gift and blessing to somebody else. All right? So share your joy and your talent with others. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.